good? Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome folks on Zoom and folks on YouTube and folks here in the sanctuary. It is very good to be with you all. So we're going to begin, and we actually have, for our poem that we read tonight, this poem was exactly about what we're going to do now, which is take a moment. Whatever you might be carrying around from the week, whether your week was hectic or annoying, or whatever your week was like, this is our opportunity to make some space, to breathe out whatever is weighing us down. Maybe to relax our muscles. I'm going to share our prayer book to the screen. And we're going to begin on page 127, and that's in the blue numbers in the prayer book. 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. And I'd like to call your attention to the screen.
Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love.
The blessing for candle lighting is on page 120 and 121. It's my pleasure to invite Mona Goldberg to the Bima.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedushanu b'mitzvotav v'tziyanu lehadlek ner Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. And for the Kiddush, on page 123, I'd like to invite Nathan Schrader to the Bima after a long hiatus. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit Ki hu yom tefila lemikrai kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol Shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat.
Yashakoach. Thank you. You may be seated. We turn now to page 128 for Ma Yafeh Hayom, how lovely today is.
Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
The Baruch Hu is on page 146. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Alay, la 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 la. Alay, la 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 la. Alay, la 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 la. Lay, la 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 la. Alay, la 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 la. Lay, la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed HaMevorach
On page 149 in the blue bracketed numbers, I invite you to read with me. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. The Shema is on page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
Be'avta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzvacha hayom על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברתם בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקישרתם לאות, על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 157, I invite you to read responsively with me. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Ay, alay, lay, la, lay, la, lay, 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 alay, lay, lay, la, lay, 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 alay, lay, lay, la, lay, 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 ay, lay, 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 la, lay, lay, lay. Ami chamocha baili Madonai, mi chamocha neida bakodesh, norati hiloto sefele, norati hiloto sefele. Malichut karahu vanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeili anu ve'ameru, zeili anu ve'ameru, Adonai melech le'olam vaed, Adonai melech le'olam vaed.
V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugeralo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 160. I invite you to read with me in the English. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapures sukat shalom, aleinu ve'el kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The tefillah begins on page 164 in the blue bracketed numbers. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Adonai, שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avoteinu B'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנת להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Page 173. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished and all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Please join me. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, sha'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. We have come to Modim, our blessing of gratitude. And it's our custom to take a few moments at this time to give people an opportunity to share anything they might be feeling grateful for today. So for those of you who are on Zoom, you are welcome to put what you're grateful for in the chat. And also everyone on Zoom or in the room can share out loud. So who is feeling grateful for something today? Diane Schenker.
Grateful for very good health and a great haircut and a loving family.
Wonderful. I'm into that. Linda Kushner.
Grateful my friend Lori went to the cemetery with me today.
I mean, let's see. We have Judith is grateful for the kindness of strangers. Susan Sisler is grateful for all of her medical and technical peeps. Charlotte is grateful for another beautiful Shabbat. Karen is grateful for this service and for wonderful friends and family. And Lori is grateful that her grandson Maxwell is going to school in the fall, 3K. Aww. I'm grateful that there were 2 little people with their caregivers who came to Tad Shabbat this morning and were just completely adorable. What about the folks in the room? Anybody feeling grateful? Elaine. Grateful today is over. Grateful that it's Shabbat. So sometimes that's all you got. Paul. Oh. Wonderful. So Paul and Joan are grateful that their granddaughter got an internship for the summer that's going to be great to launch her into her career. So modim anachnu lach for that.
And I'll
Go ahead.
every week I think I'm just in my thoughts how grateful I am to have my children, Aaron and Emily, and that they're so good. And Aaron just came back from the Bavarian Alps and a trip with Yale Forestry. He finished his first year at Masters in Yale Forestry, and he was in the Bavarian Alps, and he's back safely. And now he'll move on to 10 weeks in the Yale Forest to study and do research, and then 1 more year of school. And he's such a good man. And Emily's going to be 30 next week.
Oh my
and
God.
on her 30th birthday, she'll be singing the Mozart Requiem with the New York Philharmonic. So nice to have good children.
Awesome. Yeah. Diane Keston is grateful that her daughter Rebecca is finishing her doctorate in physical therapy and moving to New Jersey. And Patricia is grateful to be here after spending some time in the ER. Freema.
I'm grateful. I had a very nice Mother's Day last week. I went up to see my son and daughter-in-law at their apartment in Queens, and I got the movie that I wanted to see.
All right. Sherry.
I am grateful that my job made some changes and now I would not be working on Saturdays, so I can have my Shabbat.
Oh, that's wonderful. Modima nachnu lach. Yeah. Somebody else? Yes, Robert.
I'm grateful that I introduced a lonely college student to other musicians, and now they're making music.
Oh, that's wonderful. Robert is grateful he introduced a lonely college student to some other musicians, and now they're making music together. Amen. Shira. Grateful that Jonah and Paul are such wonderful friends. And it goes both ways, says Joan. Amen. I'm grateful that my younger daughter, Shoshi, is home from college for the summer. It took 3 trips, 2 of them on Tuesday night, stretching late into the night, but it's done and she's home and it's really nice to have her around. Anybody else? Yes, Ruth. Yeah, we're grateful that Nathan has improved to the point where he can get around and come back and join us in person. We've seen you on Zoom a few times, but we've missed having you here. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Page 178.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov binecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We have come now to our quiet prayer. There are words on pages 180 and 181 in the prayer book in the blue numbers. There are words on the screen if you can see the screen, but we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
ויהיו לרצונים רפים, רפים, והגיון ליבי לפניך. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Begoali, Begoali.
May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We keep in mind all of those who continue to be held captive in Gaza. We say for them our prayer for captives, which is originally written in the Middle Ages because this is not a new issue. The words are on the screen. For all our family of the house of Israel, fellow Jews and non-Jews who face anguish and captivity, whether on sea or on land, may the divine have compassion upon them and bring them from distress to relief, from darkness to light, from subjugation to redemption, now, speedily, soon, and let us say, Amen. And we continue with a prayer for the state of Israel by Rabbi Ayelet Cohen, which is also on the screen. Source of life, maker of wonders, bless the state of Israel and all the inhabitants of the land. Protect her with infinite compassion. Spread over her your shelter of peace. Strengthen the hearts and the will of its citizens calling out for justice and democracy. May their voices ring out like a shofar throughout the land. A budding redemption, help them replant what has been uprooted and tend what has been neglected, so the seedling promises of refuge and equality blossom and thrive. May their feet not give way. Let them not tire, nor slumber, nor succumb to fear. Grant strength and courage. Nurture a shared future for all who call the land home. Healer of the brokenhearted, sustain our hope. Help us celebrate what was and is miraculous in Israel's founding. Help us grieve all that has been lost in the realization of that dream. May we be strong enough and honest enough to carry the shattered along with the whole. May our love and our commitment to the vision of the prophets endure like honey from the crag and oil from the flinty rock. May we be partners with the divine and with all the inhabitants of the land in establishing and protecting justice, peace, and joy. And we say together, Amen. And we turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. Our Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, is on page 371 in the middle of the page. If you're on Zoom, I invite you to add names of anyone for whom you're praying for healing in the chat, which I see that you are already doing. And everyone will have a chance also to add names out loud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing this evening Allison Plummer, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Jody Siegel-Stein, Isaac Hockman, Lennon Safe, Joellen Fox, Valerie Pace, Sarah Bard Ratliff, Kenny Schweiger, Paul Gold, Deanna Roth, Gina Marie Cortez, Janet Schlesinger, Jonathan Falkowski, Martha Vincent, Ingrid Grosso, Eddie DeAngelis, Vicki Lightnaker, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Freya Kashmir, Delphine Wolf, Liz Yasuda, Mark and Paul Steiner, Celia Karp, Anne-Marie Rogan, Marion Mandel, Sharon Zinn, Nicole Moskowitz, Stephen Belay, Patty Cohen, Daniel Silverman, Sarah West, Ethel Gold, Harold Keston, Barbara Hopard, Mike Wenzelberg, Augusto Zapato, Judith Weiss, Shirley Hunter-Pinsky, Helene Smith, Karen Siegel, Bobby Narado, Joanne Sorgan, Dawn Sorgan, Dolly Neiman, Francine Benjamin, Angela Contolios, Jessica Pasqualone, and Daryl Lewis. Augustine Davis, Damian Colon, Jerome Taylor, Ed Robinson, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Jimmy Jenkins, Chanel Kamabach, Juliette Dale, Maureen Dale, Elena Aram, Warren Feliz, Sylvia Solva, DeAndre Wynn, Jennifer Magoob, Sarah West, Tamia Bethia Williams, Della Holder, John Holder, Vanessa Johnson, Anita Jones, Jeanette Walton, Robert Walton, Bria DeRosa, Patricia Matthews, Roberta Gotthelf, Bill Zolan, Stacy and David Mauser, Hannah Paines, Elizabeth Eisdorfer, Eslin Grant and her family, Pat Flood, Cindy Rabinowitz, Claude Smith, Angela Napoli, Mila Minich, Matine Narcisse, Evie Quinn, Joyce Aronson, Terry Hoffman. Freema?
Minnie Lenny, Miriam Bat, Tova, Arlene Schneier, Neil Klein, Alicia Serby, Debbie Kelly, Martin Bennett, Phyllis O'Neill, Barbara Wallman, Elliot Drucker, Kathy's brother Gabby, Hassan Demir, Nancy Demir, Richard Kurlander, Ellie Ferry, Charlie DeRemos, Rivka Leah Bat Hinda, Bat Yeoman Bat Leah, David Ben Rachel Leah. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Kushner?
Carol and Stevie Doppelt, David Gershon, Ruth Gordon, Mort Kessler, Phyllis and Lori Benjamin, Janet Brandt, Sherry Jacobs, myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Schenker?
Robin Power.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom? If you're in the room and you have names to add, please rise or raise your hands. Elaine? Tony? Janice? Alan?
Bonnie Greenbaum, Karen Eichel, Susan Softy, Freddie Brooks, Howard Mishkin, Marion Mishkin, Marshall Thames.
Mona? Robert?
Richard Polonetsky and Irving Maurice Mintz.
Paul?
Lawrence Keller and Jude.
We include also all of those who have been wounded in service to our country, those who were hurt in Israel on October 7th, and those who have been wounded since then in the war between Israel and Hamas. We also include those who have been hurt in other wars and conflicts around the world, of which there are so many, including in Ukraine, Haiti, Sudan, Afghanistan, Syria. I could go on. And those who have been hurt in recent natural disasters, including the storm in Houston, Texas. Page 371 in the middle of the page.
Mi sheberach avotenu b'kor habracha limotenu Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu b'kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This week's Torah portion, and more, lists the festivals that the Israelites are to observe: Shabbat, Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. It also tells us to count 49 days from the start of Passover and celebrate Shavuot on the 50th day. We call it counting the Omer, and we're going to do the count for tonight and tomorrow in just a few minutes. There's no explanation in the Torah for why we count the days from Passover to Shavuot. A general understanding is that the counting links the two festivals, and then it makes sense to link them. They were both originally harvest festivals, Passover originating with dual meaning. It was both celebrating a harvest and also acknowledging and celebrating the exodus from Egypt, while Shavuot started out just as a harvest festival. When theological meaning was being added to these festivities, Shavuot became the festival celebrating the receiving of Torah at Mount Sinai. As such, it's clear that we're counting up to the peak experience of revelation at Mount Sinai. Rabbi Shai Held writes of the medieval text Sefer HaChinuch, which we don't know who wrote it, but the author writes, receiving the Torah is an even greater good for the Jewish people than freedom from slavery. The purpose of freedom from slavery is to lead to receiving the Torah. We count 49 days in order to demonstrate the immense yearning we feel for the great day when we will receive the Torah. Because counting shows a person that all of their longing and all of their yearning are focused on getting to that day. So anyone who has counted the days to vacation or to a birthday or to any other kind of significant event can understand the yearning that is part of that counting. Although I think our custom is probably more to count down than to count up too, but it's the same thing. Over the years, though, the mood of the Omer, as one of breathless yearning and anticipation, gave way to its becoming a time of semi-mourning. Starting in the Geonic period, which is from the 6th to the 11th centuries, so it's a pretty solid stretch of time, but it's somewhere in there is when Jewish authorities began to discourage marriages during the Omer period, haircutting, and then the use of musical instruments. Tradition attributes this behavior, based on a story told in the Talmud, to grief over the death of Rabbi Akiva's 12,000 pairs of students, who apparently all died at about the same time in between Passover and Shavuot. Scholars spent a lot of time trying to figure out what could cause the death of all of those students at once. And for a time, many scholars thought that it was a reference to Rabbi Akiva's support for Bar Kokhba's rebellion against Rome in the early 2nd century. The idea was that because of his support for the rebellion, Rabbi Akiva, who thought that Bar Kokhba, the leader of the rebellion, was the Messiah, his students joined the rebellion in droves, and thousands died when the revolt was brutally crushed by the Romans. More recently, scholars believe that the story in the Talmud is just a story, a literary story not intended to be taken as history. Even so, in this time when Israel is at war with Hamas after the worst single attack on Jews since the Holocaust, it might be instructive for us to look at that idea that Rabbi Akiva's students died because they joined a doomed rebellion and God did not save them. This week's Haftarah comes from the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel's prophecy here gives instructions for the priests in the temple, but there's a catch. Ezekiel isn't in Jerusalem. He's not even in Judah. He's in exile in Babylonia with a lot of the other Jews. They got exiled after they were conquered. He doesn't have access to the temple, but yet his prophecy is about what should happen in the temple. So that makes his prophecy a promise for the future. One day the Jews will be back in the land and be able to worship in the temple. And indeed, that did happen. The prophet Isaiah also did not see the Exodus as simply a past event, but rather something that could and would happen again. God brought the Israelites out of Egypt. God could bring the Jews out of Babylonia and back to the land. But God didn't help Rabbi Akiva's students and didn't stop them from being killed. For those who care about Israel on any level, this is a terrible time. There is intense disagreement in the world and also among Jews about what is right at this time, what Israel should be doing, and even disagreement about what Israel is doing. People don't, have different sets of facts that they're working with. Grief and mourning in Israel are ongoing for those who were murdered on October 7th, for those who have been killed since, for the hostages still being held. Many Israelis also feel great pain and worry for those suffering in Gaza. It's very hard to conceive of a positive end to all of this violence, and God doesn't seem to be doing anything. So we mourn, as Rabbi Held writes, because our experience falls so unbearably short of the redemption we have been promised and assured would come. And yet, even if the period of the Omer were not a time for sadness according to tradition, it would be a sad time now. But still we count. We still count up the days to Revelation, to the promise that we are God's people and God cares about us. We insist on affirming that the God who redeemed us from Egypt once will redeem us again. Another way to put it, because maybe that whole God doing things in the world doesn't work for you. We insist on maintaining hope. Hope that there is a way to get to peace. Hope that there is a way to the end of violence. Hope that leaders will emerge who will be able to find a way. May we not give in to despair. May we keep counting up and keep reaching forward. May we hold up our heads and affirm that we believe that good will yet come with God's help. Amen and Shabbat Shalom. Speaking of the Omer, it is time to count it. The blessing for counting the Omer is on page 570, and the words for actual today counting are on the screen. So if you'd like to join me, please do. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom chamisha ve'esrim yom, shehem shlosha shavuot ve'arba'a yamim la'omer. Today is 25 days, which is 3 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. And now we turn to the Aleinu. It begins on page 586 at the top of the page. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I am sharing our yahrzeit list for the coming week to the screen. Those of you here in person have the yahrzeit list in your pink bulletin. If you're on Zoom and have names to add, you're welcome to put them in the chat, and everyone will have an opportunity to add names out loud. We remember those who have died in the past year. Dr. Stephen Antipol, Lester Futternick, Kamal Burai, Warren Sorgan, Joan Marie Pandolfo Cortez, Janet Dankowitz, Victoria Ann Morell, Harriet Laufer, Erwin Cohen, Saul Siegel, Naomi Kirsch, Bio Calendar, Jacques Cohen, Ned Goldberg, Irene Berkowitz, Manny Arnowitz, Judy Silversmith, Kathy Cricky, Marvin Schneider, Joan Lifshitz, Elaine May, Alan Mandel, June Friedman, Harvey Crevoy, Dr. Luis Fernando Salguero, Ellen Block, Bonnie Bezoza, Amitai Ben Tzvi, Doris Present, Marvin Feil, Howard Eisenstadt, Ed Vincent, Rita Weinberg Clark, Joni Rosenfeld, George Landberg, Jack Ehrlich, Richard Golick, Ruth Penn, Joyce Kantrowitz, Joanne Pessin, Carolyn Sukoff-Cerulli, Harvey Barkin, Amy Juskowitz Spoonseller, Joseph Schenken, Seymour Kaplan, Deborah Kostman, Leslie Hirsch, Samuel Capsuto, Rosalind Baylor. Included on our yahrzeit list this week are Matthew Brunner, Diane Keston's nephew, Laura Chapnick, Edward Chapnick's mother, Elaine Drucker, Nadine Antipol and Leslie Drucker's mother, Anne Friedman, Rob Friedman's mother, Claire Kramer, Cecilia Kramer's mother, William Lamp, Hazel Tishkoff's brother-in-law, Steve Platkin, Sam and Fran Silverman's friend, Seymour Rosenbaum, Myra Rosenbaum's father, Gertrude Rothman, Sarah West's grandmother, Morris Salad, Grace Schneider's grandfather, and Fred Siegel, Jan Rosenberg's husband. I also want to mention Myron Jacobson, Shira Reese's partner. Edith Gonzalez. Frima?
On the list, on the list is Faye Trulick. She was such a wonderful lady. From what I remember her, she was always so great, so friendly, so smiling, always wore pins. She was a fashionista. And I have Heather Krugman and my friend, the crossing guard, Maureen. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Kushner?
My son Seth passed away 9 years ago today.
Thank you. Diane Keston?
Yes, so Matthew Berner, my nephew's on the list. It is 2 years exactly today, actually, that he passed away. And I just want to say that, in talking about the grief surrounding his death, there are lots of words that come, but I find that when I want to describe who he was as a person, the words sort of fail me. So I want to describe him this way. I planted a tree in Prospect Park in his memory, and the leaves are budding. And so he is in the tapestry of everybody that he knew in what we do from day to day. He is with us in everything. And that the essence of him is one of pride and beauty. And we want to carry that on. And I also want to mention Lester Feudernick because he was on the list. He passed away a week ago. He was my first husband. And I want to say that I'm grateful that with him, I have my two amazing daughters.
Thank you, Diane. Charlotte?
I'm remembering Rosalind Greenberg. She was a very dignified lady who took great pride in having the most outrageous roles during the Purim festival each year. I still have a memory of her, a very, very tall, very dignified lady standing there in a long nightgown being Queen Vashti. She was quite a wonderful lady.
Wonderful. And I believe one of our
Yes,
Torah covers
yes,
that is
she was.
on one of our Torahs right now
Yes,
is
she
in
was
honor of her bat mitzvah.
Yes, she was bat mitzvahed, and her family presented that Torah cover in her honor.
Yes. Thank you. Anybody else on Zoom? If you're in the room and have names to add, please rise or raise your hand. Alan?
Just another repeat for Elaine Drucker. Very involved in everything. Whatever she got involved in was 1,000%, and also very supportive of us growing up.
I'll just repeat that because I know Leslie is on. Alan wanted to bring Elaine Drucker's name out again. She was very, very involved in the synagogue. Everything she did was 1,000%, and she was very supportive to all the kids as they were growing up. Andrew? Uh-huh. Definitely. Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Andrew Brown also added about Elaine that she was like an honorary grandmother to him, and she was an amazing woman. And she and her husband Lenny, also of blessed memory, were a synagogue power couple and were very much the foundation of the synagogue for a lot of years. Absolutely true. We also include all of those who have died in this terrible war between Israel and Hamas. We include those who have died in other wars and conflicts and those who have died from other causes, whether or not they had anyone to say Kaddish for them, and whether it was in terror or famine or disaster or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598 in the blue numbers. If you're able, I invite you to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudasha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, dam yaran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rava min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved here among us and wherever they may be. And let us say, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, Hoyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
A few announcements before we conclude. Tomorrow, there will be religious school at 9:45 a.m. B'yachad will be at 10 a.m. That's adults in conversation, where I throw out a question and everybody answers it by telling stories from their lives. It's always fascinating, almost always fascinating. So that's at 10 a.m. You can join on Zoom or in person. Services are at 11 a.m. on Zoom and in person. At 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. is our Yom HaAtzmaut celebration, sponsored by the Arts Committee. They will be sponsoring a festive Israeli lunch, along with videos related to Israel. But here's the other thing about tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Brooklyn Half Marathon. It cuts Brooklyn in half down Ocean Parkway, and you cannot get anywhere on the roads all morning. So take the subway if you want to come in person, or walk if you're close enough. Do not try to use the roads. It will not work. You will not. I mean, if you leave a couple extra hours, you'll be able to get here eventually. But seriously, it's a parking lot. So, I mean, as much as we want people to come in person, tomorrow is a great day to come on Zoom. So, you know, I'll be here. I'm walking over. On Sunday, there is not a half marathon, but there is a Brotherhood meeting at 9:30 a.m., followed by a lecture at 10:30 a.m. Ron Schweiger, our own past president and congregant Ron Schweiger, who is also the official Borough of Brooklyn historian, is going to speak about the history of the Brighton Line and other important information about our subways. So that's open to everybody and not just Brotherhood. On Thursday at 1 p.m. is Torah study with me on Zoom. Tat Shabbat on Friday at 10 a.m. And on Friday night, we have something very, very special. The adult Brit Mitzvah class is culminating over 2 years of studying together. And so the members of that class are going to lead the service. Some of them are going to chant Torah. One of them is going to chant Haftarah. So we're going to have a Torah service as well. We're going to have a festive oneg. It's all going to be lovely. So that's next. I can't believe it's already next Friday night. Next Friday night, May 24th, during services at 7:15. Then on the 25th, weather permitting, we will go to the Marine Park Salt Marsh Nature Center for our annual outdoor service, which when the weather is nice, it is always really nice. And that service will be at 10:30 in the morning. So that if it's going to get hot, like we'll catch it before it gets too hot. Coming up in June, on June 9th, is our annual journal luncheon. The honoree this year is me, because I've been a rabbi now. It's my 13th year as a rabbi, and so that's, my bat mitzvah year and so the ads are done. You can't put ads in the journal anymore, but you can still come. It's at Gargiulo's restaurant, and you have until May 24th, that's next Friday, to make your reservations. There's also going to be a congregational picnic on Sunday, June 23rd, from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. at Fort Tilden Recreation Area in Breezy Point. There's a cost, but there will also be lots of food, and so like that. Many, many thanks to Mona Goldberg and Nathan Schrader for doing the honors this evening. There is a tzedakah box on your way out of the sanctuary if you would like. That goes to our tzedakah fund that I distribute to people in need. And then join us across the lobby in the community room for the oneg. But before that, we're going to close with Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, which is on page 657 at the bottom of the page, and it's also on the screen. If you're able, I invite you to rise.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face towards you and give you peace. Amen. And before we go across, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbos.